Good morning, dear students. Good morning, dear students.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Welcome to the chemistry class, my dear students. Today, uh, we shall discuss how to write the chemical formula. So, let us move forward and understand how to write the chemical formula for a chemical compound. In the last period, we have seen some of the chemical formulas. लेट मी रिकॉल यू, चलो मैं आपको याद करवा लेता हूं थोड़ा सा कि हमने क्या क्या देखा था लास्ट पीरियड में। हमने लास्ट पीरियड में ये देखा था कि हमने कुछ फॉर्मूलास लर्न करने की ट्राई की थी। हमने देखा था कि कुछ कंपाउंड थे जिनके नाम हमें याद रखने थे, उनके फॉर्मूलास, जैसे कि एक था लाइम। इफ यू कैन रिकॉल, in the last period we have studied about lime. This lime, when we studied, my dear students, we came to know that lime has the formula CaO. When we wrote CaO, we even have written calcium oxide. Can you see the screen, my dear students? मैं जो लिख रहा हूं आपको दिख रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Same way, my dear students, we have studied about the limestone. And this limestone, my dear students, this limestone we have written as CaCO3, calcium carbonate. So here you can easily understand that we have two types, we have two names for this CaO. But then how do we prepare this formula? You know what we write for water, my dear students? What do we write for water formula? मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ. What formula do we use for water?
H2O.
Very good. What formula do we use for carbon dioxide?
CO2.
Nice. We use generally CO2. Do you know what formula do we use for sugar? Dear students, what formula do we use for sugar? What formula do we use for methane? These all we have studied in the previous standards. आप 6 to 8 में ये सब पढ़ के आए हैं, बताइए. For sugar we write C12H22O11. Please do not forget. Same way for methane we write CH4. For methane we write CH4. So these are the various formulas, my dear students, that we study. And how do we get these formulas? That is what we are going to study today. That is what it is the matter of discussion for today's class. So let us start discussing all this in detail, my dear students. Let us study this. So before we study, let me tell you something that we have seen or we have studied about the molecules. These molecules, they do not have charge. And we have studied about the elements. These elements have some symbols. We have studied how to determine the symbols of the various elements. Now let us study the symbol of the various element that I can show you in your textbook, my dear students. If you have your textbook, please open it up. अगर आपके पास टेक्स्ट बुक है तो उसे ओपन कीजिए एंड लेट मी टेक यू टू द वेरियस सिंबल्स दैट आर गिवन टू द वेरियस एलिमेंट्स. Here, my dear students, you can see a table. In this table, you can see the formulas for the various elements. This it is. बच्चों आप देख पा रहे हैं आपकी स्क्रीन पे मैंने एक टेबल आपको दिखाया है, उसमें सारे एलिमेंट्स के फॉर्मूलाज दिखाए गए हैं. ये आप पहले भी पढ़ चुके होंगे. टुडे अगेन लेट मी रिवाइज इट फॉर यू. एंड वी हैव seen that the second letter that we use is always small, whereas the first letter that we use is always capital. So for aluminum we write Al, for argon we write Ar, for barium we write Ba, for boron we write B, for bromine we write Br, for calcium we write Ca, for carbon we write C, for chlorine we write Cl, for cobalt we write Co, for copper we write Cu. Now there is something special in copper that I'll tell you at the end. Then for fluorine we write F, for gold we write Au, for hydrogen we write H, for iodine we write I, for iron we write Fe, for lead we write Pb, for magnesium we write Mg, for neon we write Ne, for nitrogen we write N, for oxygen we write O, for potassium we write K, for silicon we write Si, for silver we write Ag, for sodium we write Na, for sulfur we write S, for uranium we write U, for zinc we write Zn. Now I have mentioned some of the elements whose names are not from their spelling. If you look at aluminium, these two are their symbol. If you look at argon, Ar, that is coming from their English name itself. But these names which I have marked the elements, these elements do not have their symbols from their name itself, because their symbol is taken from the name of either Latin, German or French or some other name. For example, my dear students, this copper name is taken, this name copper is taken from the name cuprum. The name copper is taken from the name cuprum, C-U-P-R-U-M, cuprum. And that is why using these first two letters, the name copper, the symbol for copper is given. Same way, my dear students, for gold, the original name is aurum. So using this name, the symbol Au is given. Same way, my dear students, when we look at this, we have potassium. For potassium, we write K. This word, this K comes from the name of potassium of origin, which is kalium. So from the name kalium, the symbol K is taken for potassium. Same way, my dear students, if you look for silver, it is argentinum. From that particular name, my dear students, the uh, symbol Ag is determined for our silver. Same way, my dear students, for sodium, the original name is natrium. So from the name natrium, the symbol Na is taken for sodium. So this is how, my dear students, we understand their symbols. Let's move forward and study few more names even. Same way, my dear students, we have marked iron. The name Fe comes from the name ferrum. Same way for lead, the original name is plumbum, my dear students. And from this plumbum, this symbol Pb is taken for this. So this is how, my dear students, we write the various symbols for the various elements, and about them we have already studied into the previous classes. Now, my dear students, we want to study something else. That something else is little different from this. Let us look at that. As my dear students, I have told you that elements and molecules, they do not have charges, but they both have symbols. Now, if we think something else, what we can think about is something that is known as the ion. What is ion? So for ion, we can write the definition very easily that the charged species, please remember my dear students, that charged species are called ions. Please remember my dear students that the charged species are called ions. So if your element has got charge, it becomes ion. If a molecule or a group of atoms, if a molecule or a group of atoms, my dear students, suppose some group of atoms, if they have charge, they become ions. So if elements have charges, if elements acquire charge, it become ion. If group of atoms acquires charge, it become ion. If a molecule even acquires charge, we call it ion. In short, the charged species are called ions, my dear students. Now, what are those charged species or what are the types of charges? बच्चों आपको पता है? Do you know what are the types of charges? What kind of charges have you studied? So there are two types of charges, my dear students. One type of charge is known as dead charge and another type is, can you tell me what are the two types of charges, dear students? बच्चों आपको पता है दो प्रकार के चार्जेस कौन से होते हैं? Anyone? Dear student? Hello? Dear students, can you hear me?
Positive charge and negative charge.
Thank you. We can have positive charge, we can have negative charge. So we can have the two type of charges are positive charge and negative charge. Please keep in your mind, please understand it well, my dear students, that the molecules, the group of atoms, the the elements, the group of atoms, the molecules, if they acquire charges, these kind of charges are known as these kind of species are known as the ions. And these ions can have the positive charge, these ions can have the negative charge. So my dear students, for ions we can write, for ions we can write charged species are called ions. Charged species are called ions. The ions may be of two types. One ion, which is the ion with positive charge. We may have the ion with the negative charge. So we have two types of ion. One is the ion with the positive charge, another is the ion with the negative charge. The ion with the positive charge is known as the cation, my dear students. The ion with the positive charge is known as the cation. The ion with the negative charge is known as the anion, my dear students. So we may have ion with the positive charge, ion with the negative charge. Now, this anion and cation can also be further divided in some classes. This anion and cation can also be divided in some classes, two types. What are these two types? Let us try to understand. These ions can also be of two types, my dear students. Let me show you first the various ions and then we can discuss about the ions of two types. My dear students, just have a look to this table which I keep in front of you. बच्चों, आपको कोई टेबल दिख रहा है आपके सामने?
Yes, sir.
ओके,
Yes, sir.
क्या दिख रहा है उसमें आपको? देखिए, you can see here, my dear students, that sodium has got Na+1, which is known as
Name of
sodium ion,
symbols.
potassium ion, silver ion, copper ion. But when you look at this, these ions are known as the, पढ़ सकते हैं, मैंने किसको किया राउंड एंड सर्कल किया? I have encircled.
Polyatomic.
Yes, these
Polyatomic
ions,
ion.
they have more than one atoms. These ions, they have more than one atom. As this ion is more than one atom, it is known as the polyatomic ion. But as this ion, you can see that they have just only single atom. These ion, they have only single atom, and that is why these all type of ions, these ion and these ions, they are collectively known as the monoatomic ions. Please remember, my dear students, that we can have two types of ion. One is polyatomic ion, another is monoatomic ion. Can you tell me what are the two types of ions, my dear students, we have now? अभी हमारे पास ions के कौन से दो प्रकार हैं बच्चों, बता सकते हैं आप? So cation can be monoatomic and polyatomic. Cation, we can have monoatomic cation. We can have monoatomic cation. At the same time, my dear students, we can have polyatomic cation. Same way when we look at the anions, my dear students, we have monoatomic anion. And we can have polyatomic anions. Please understand, my dear students, well that the cation can be monoatomic cation and polyatomic cation. Anion can be monoatomic anion and polyatomic anion. This is how we understand, my dear students, about the anions. I hope you understand, dear students. क्या आपको समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
वेरी गुड. चलिए आगे चलते हैं और समझते हैं थोड़ा डिटेल में. We have monoatomic anion and we have polyatomic anion. Now let us write their examples from here. Let us look at the textbook and then we will write the examples for them. Now my dear students, here you can see that we have various types of ions, but some ions, they have positive charge. We can call them, some ions that have positive charge, we can call them cation. So these are the cations. These all are the cations. Here, if you look at the polyatomic ions, there is only one ion which is cation, and that is what it is known as the ammonium ion. All the other ions, my dear students, if you look at carefully, all the other ions have negative charge but only ammonium ion has got positive charge. You can see it is negative, 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 negative minus 2, negative minus 1. There is one more ion which is known as the phosphate ion. It has negative 3 charge, PO4 minus 3. It has negative 3 charge. Same way, my dear students, you can here easily understand that this is positive ion, negative, positive, cation, anion. These all are cations. You can see here, all these are cations. These all are cations because they all have positive charge. You can see positive charge can be plus 1, plus 2. There is one ion which is known as aluminium ion. Maybe they are here. Yes, they are available here. They are written. See, aluminium ion, iron 3 ion, they have plus 3 charge. Phosphate ion is also written, which has minus 3 charge. Nitride ion, which has minus 3 charge. So let us write the examples of these ions and let us understand them, that we have various ions, my dear students. These various ions we can understand by writing their examples. Monoatomic cation. So we can write sodium ion, sodium plus 1. We can write magnesium ion, which is magnesium plus 2. We can write aluminium ion, which is aluminium plus 3. We can write potassium ion, which is K plus 1. We can write calcium ion, which is Ca plus 2. So these are the ions which are made up of monoatom, that is the single atom, and that is why, and they have positive charge, so they are known as monoatomic cation. Same way, polyatomic cation has got only one example, and that example for polyatomic cation is NH4 plus 1, which is known as the ammonium ion. Please remember, my dear students, that it is the only ammonium ion which is polyatomic cation. Now, my dear students, we want to study about the anions. So, when we study about the anions, my dear students, we will study that there are monoatomic anions. For example, you can have Cl minus with minus 1 charge. You can have O minus 2 with minus 2 charge. You can have N minus 3, which is nitride ion with minus 3 charge. You can have Br minus 1 with minus 1 charge. You can have S minus 2 sulfide ion with minus 2 charge. You can have, so this is how, my dear students, you can understand the various ions with the various charge, but they have monoatom, they have single atom. But when we look at the polyatomic anions, my dear students, when we look at the polyatomic anions, we start with the OH minus 1, which is known as the hydroxide ion. We can go for SO4 minus 2 ion. We have SO4 minus 2 ion, which is known as sulfate ion. We can have PO4 minus 3 ion, which is phosphate ion with minus 3 charge. We can have such a big ion, HCO3 minus 1 ion, which is hydrogen carbonate ion. So these are the various ways, or these are the various types of ions, my dear students, that we can study here, and we can remember their names and we can study them for the longer time, my dear students. Now, my dear students, we want to study about the ions in detail. So first, let us study from our textbook about these ions. Let's have enough attention and let us study their names for my dear students. So let's have a look at the names. See, you need to speak ion after the name. So sodium ion, that is Na plus 1, potassium ion, that is K plus 1, silver ion, that is Ag plus 1, copper 1 ion, that is Cu plus 1. Here in the Roman numbers, in the parenthesis, my dear students, we write the charge present on the ion for some of the metallic ions, because these metallic ions are also present in some other charges. So copper plus 1 ion is Cu plus 1, but copper plus 2 ion, Cu plus 2 is also possible, which we call it as a copper 2 ion. So we shall call this as a copper 2 ion Cu plus 2. Same way, my dear students, let us study about the other ions. We may have magnesium plus 2 ion, that is magnesium ion, calcium plus 2 ion, that is calcium ion. We may have zinc plus 2 ion, that is zinc ion. You can see here we have iron 2 ion, that is Fe plus 2, but copper 2, that is Cu plus 2. We may have aluminum ion, that is aluminum plus 3, and we have iron 3 ion, which has plus 3 charge. So you can compare that we can have iron 2 ion as well as iron 3 ion. We can have copper 1 ion as well as copper 2 ion. You can see here, my dear students, that we can have copper 1 ion, that is Cu plus 1. We can have copper 2 ion, that is Cu plus 2, and we write the charge in the parenthesis with the Roman numbers. Please remember. Then we may have hydrogen ion, H plus 1 ion, but same hydrogen can have negative charge, which is known as the hydride ion, H minus ion. We have chloride ion, Cl minus ion. We have bromide ion, Br minus ion. We have iodide ion, I minus ion. We have oxide ion, O minus 2 ion. We have sulfide ion, S minus 2 ion. We have nitride ion, N minus 3 ion. We have ammonium ion, NH4 plus 1 ion. We have hydroxide ion, OH minus 1 ion. We don't write 1, but you need to understand that when only minus 1, only minus or plus written, we should understand that there is 1 present there. So nitrate ion, you have NO3 minus 1 ion. Hydrogen carbonate ion, that is you have HCO3 minus 1 ion. You have carbonate ion, you have sulfide ion. Carbonate ion is CO3 minus 2 ion. Sulfite ion is SO3 minus 2 ion. Sulfate ion is SO4 minus 2 ion. Phosphate ion is PO4 minus 3 ion. This is how, my dear students, we understand the various ions. You can see here, even in your textbook, it is written that, let us read, that some elements show more than one valency. A Roman numeral show their valency in the bracket, and this is how we understand the copper plus 2 and copper plus 1, iron 2 and iron 3 ions, and we write their positive charge, or we write their valency into the bracket with the Roman numbers, my dear students. Now let me explain you something more about these ions and what care you should take when you study these ions. My dear students, some ions have some common and complicated names. Let us try to understand them. Suppose you have just seen N minus 3 ion. Please remember, dear students, that this is what it is known as the nitride ion. Nitride ion. Same way, my dear students, if you have NO3 minus 1 ion, that is what it is known as nitrate ion. Suppose, my dear students, if you have NO2 minus 1 ion, NO2 minus 1, this ion is known as nitrite ion. Please remember, nitrite ion. So there is a difference in their names. You can see here N minus 3 is known as nitride ion, NO3 minus is known as nitrate ion, and NO2 minus is known as nitrite ion. Same way, my dear students, if you look at the other ions, like if you look at this ion CO3 minus 2, it is known as carbonate ion. But if you look at this HCO3 minus 2 ion, my dear students, HCO3 minus 2 ion, then this is what it is known as the hydrogen carbonate ion. It is known as hydrogen carbonate ion. Same way, my dear students, we have few more examples to study. Suppose you have S minus 2 ion, it is known as the sulfide ion. But if you look at SO4 minus 2 ion, my dear students, it is known as sulfate ion. And if you study SO3 minus 2 ion, my dear students, it is known as a sulfide ion. So these are the names and their charges or their symbol you should learn. These you must learn, my dear students. They are going to be very useful in future for your studies. Now, my dear students, let us see how we can write the compound from these ions. So to write the name of the compound from these ions, my dear students, let us move forward and understand the method. Now, from the textbook, let us choose some ions so that we can write their names. My dear students, from the textbook, let us choose some ions so that we can write their names, my dear students. So let's have a look to this. Let us say we are going to choose the sodium ion, then we are going to choose the magnesium ion, then we are going to choose the aluminum ion. Here we are going to choose uh, the oxide ion, the chloride ion, and my dear students, we are going to choose the hydroxide ion. So let us move forward and write these ions and then we will form the compounds from them. So let's move forward and understand these ions, my dear students. We have chosen some ions. The first ion that we have chosen is the sodium ion. So when we have sodium ion, it is Na plus 1. Then, my dear students, we have chosen the another ion which is known as the chloride ion. Or let's not write them here. Let's write the chloride ion somewhere else. The second ion we are going to choose is your magnesium ion, which is your Mg plus 2. Then you have the third ion, which is known as aluminium ion, which is known as Al plus 3. Same way, my dear students, let us choose some anions like chloride ion, which is Cl minus 1. Then we can choose the other ions like oxide ion, my dear students. So when oxide ion, we write O minus 2. And then, my dear students, we are going to choose the hydrox, or let us choose the phosphate ion, my dear students. Let us choose phosphate ion, which is your PO4 minus 3 ion. So now using these ions, we want to write the names. Let us say we want to make the compound between the sodium and chlorine. So first we should write it in this manner. First we will write the name and symbol for the sodium. So we should write sodium ion. Then we can write the chloride ion. Let's write it with some other color. Chloride ion. Chloride ion. Then we should write their symbols, my dear students. So for sodium, we shall write Na plus 1. For chlorine, we shall write Cl minus 1. Then, my dear students, we need to write their charges. So here, what is the charge 1? So we shall write 1 here. What is the charge 1? We shall write 1 here. Here, we need not to write the charge type, positive, negative, we need not to write. Then, my dear students, we need to decide the LCM. LCM of 1 and 1. Can you tell me what is the LCM of 1 and 1, my dear students? What is the LCM for 1 and 1? The LCM for 1 and 1 is 1, my dear students. So what do? We just draw a line after leaving some gap and then we write the value of LCM here. Now we need to multiply this number so that we get the value of LCM. So 1 multiplied by 1 gives us 1. Here also 1 multiplied by 1 gives us 1. And now, my dear students, using this number that we have multiplied with, we will make an arrow. Please understand this. This is how we will make an arrow. This is the number of this ion we need to make the compound. So here we need Na1, we need Cl1. But this 1 we do not generally write, my dear students. So we should not write 1 and we will simply write the name of the compound NaCl. We simply write the name of this compound as NaCl. Now we will remove this ion word from this and then we will combine them. So we will write what is the name of this compound. The name of the compound is sodium chloride. So we shall write sodium and then we shall write chloride. So this is how, my dear students, we can easily write the name of the compound for anything. Now let's look at the another and the last example for today's class. Let's have a look to the magnesium and phosphate ion. So let's first write their names. First we are going to write magnesium ion. We shall write magnesium ion. Then, my dear students, we are going to write phosphate ion. So for magnesium ion, my dear students, we shall write Mg plus 2. For phosphate ion, my dear students, we should write PO4 minus 3. Now we will just write their charges. So here, my dear students, we can write 2 here. As a charge, my dear students, we should write 2 here. Here we should write 3. Now, my dear students, we want to determine the LCM for 2 and 3. Can you tell me the LCM for 2 and 3? What is the LCM for 2 and 3? I shall calculate it for you. Let us write 2, let us write 3, and then let me calculate the LCM. So by 2 we get 1 and 3. By 3 we get 1 and 1. So LCM is equal to 2 multiplied by 3, that is 6. So here, my dear students, LCM of 2 and 3 is equal to 6. So we will leave some gap and we'll write here 6. Now, my dear students, we need to decide that what number we should write here so that we get 6. So can you tell me what 2's are 6 or what number should I multiply with 2 so that we can get 6? No worries, dear students. 2 3's are 6 and 3 2's are 6. So here, my dear students, you can easily draw an arrow, and by drawing the arrow you can easily understand to write the formula of the compound. You need Mg3 and PO4 2. Now here, my dear students, we need to apply one more very important rule. What is that important rule? I'll tell you that the polyatomic ions, if more than one, the polyatomic ion, if more than one, they are written in the bracket. They are written in the bracket. Here, my dear students, you can see that phosphate ion has got 1 phosphorus and 4 oxygen, that are total 5 atoms. So it is polyatomic and it is required more than one, that is 2. So we shall write it in the bracket. We need magnesium 3. Please pay attention, my dear students, that we need 3 magnesium, that is Mg3. Then we should make a bracket. Then we shall write PO4. And how much PO4 do we need? We need 2 PO4. So we shall write Mg3 PO4 twice. This Mg3 PO4 twice has a name. We need not to write this ion. So we should write magnesium phosphate. We should write magnesium phosphate. Please, my dear students, understand this, and I hope you have enjoyed class. Now, my dear students, you can go for the next class. Happy learning. अगर आपको कुछ समझ में नहीं आया बच्चों तो आप पूछ सकते हैं. प्यारे बच्चों, आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं? Dear students, do you want to ask something? बच्चों, अगर आप कुछ पूछना चाहें तो पूछ सकते हैं.
नहीं सर.
सब समझ में आ गया? बताइए बताइए. मैंने जो एक्सप्लेन किया वो सब समझ में आ रहा है? कुछ समझ में नहीं आया तो आप पूछ सकते हैं. कुछ पूछना है तो पूछ सकते हैं, अदरवाइज अब आप अगली क्लास के लिए जा सकते हैं. पर कुछ पूछना है तो बिना संकोच पूछ लीजिए. डू यू हैव एनीथिंग टू आस्क माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स?
नो सर.
अंडरस्टूड एवरीथिंग? समझ में आया कैसे फॉर्मूला बनता है? जानवी,
यस सर.
महक भगत, शिवराज, रिया,
Yes, sir.
अगर समझ में आया है तो ओके देन. विश यू हैप्पी लर्निंग बेटा. आप लोग जाइए, अपने नेक्स्ट क्लास के लिए जा सकते हैं.
Okay, sir.
यस सर.